Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. The Spanish newspaper Mundo Deportivo has published today what might be the biggest transfer move in Spain this year. Barcelona and Atlético de Madrid have started discussing a player swap deal that would include Saúl and Antoine Griezmann. According to the news, the negotiation for the player exchange is still in an early phase, but both clubs are serious and committed to it, since it would be a transfer move highly beneficial for both teams. Saúl has a release clause of 150 million and his contract expires on June 2026. Nevertheless, Atlético agreed back in the day that if the player asked to be released, they would listen offers from other clubs as long as they were decent. And here is where Barcelona shows up. Barca wants to improve the midfield with a box-to-box player. Wijnaldum was the top priority, since he would have arrived as a free agent. But after the Dutch chose PSG instead of the Catalan club, Barcelona has been looking for alternatives. On top of that, Barca needs to free salary space in order to re-sign Lionel Messi, and Griezmann is the second top-paid player of the squad. Saúl is one of those players that has been linked to Barcelona for quite some time now. In 2018, Barcelona paid a fee to get preferential rights over the player. Thus, if Atlético was going to sell Saúl to another team, Barca could match the offer and get him. Koeman is reportedly open to let Griezmann go if that is the condition to extend Messi's contract. On the other hand, Diego Simeone, Atlético de Madrid coach, would love to get Antoine. One of the hurdles that Barcelona and Atlético de Madrid are facing right now to carry on this player swap deal is Griezmann's salary, which is beyond Atlético's possibilities. However, Atlético managers believe that Antoine would be open to decrease his salary to return to his former club. Mundo Deportivo spoke with people close to Griezmann who confirmed that the French international would be interested in going back to Atlético if he had to leave Barcelona. Last summer, Diego Simeone already requested to Atlético's board of directors to do a move for Griezmann, but he was shut down. This summer, it might finally happen. Sources from Barcelona have confirmed that the negotiations between both clubs are serious, since they believe both parts would benefit from. Atlético would receive a top goal star who shined the most when he was playing under Simeone's tutelage. Barcelona would free some salary space, and Koeman would finally get the box-to-box midfielder that he has been asking for. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comment section what do you think about this potential transfer move between Saúl and Griezmann. Stay safe and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Yesterday, Mundo Deportivo broke the internet after reporting that Barcelona and Atlético de Madrid were in negotiations to exchange Saúl Ñíguez and Griezmann. Today, more information about the player swap deal has been published, confirming that the negotiations are more advanced than initially thought. Saúl's future has been the source of constant rumors throughout the season. Manchester United and Juventus had shown interest in the player, and Liverpool even made an offer for around 40 million euros early in the summer, since the Reds saw him as a perfect replacement of Wijnaldum. Although Atlético turned the offer down, both clubs were actively negotiating, and journalists from Madrid thought that the player would end up at Anfield. Nevertheless, in the middle of those negotiations, Barcelona show up with an offer that is particularly interesting to Atlético's coach, Diego Simeone. Barcelona is open to exchange Saúl for Simeone's prodigal son, Antoine Griezmann. Barcelona is in desperate need to reduce the squad salary in order to re-sign Leo Messi. Antoine is the Barcelona's second top-paid player, and his transfer would facilitate Leo's contract extension. On top of that, after the arrival of Depay and Agüero, Koeman's plan is to start with Griezmann on the bench, which would be a waste considering his high salary. Moreover, Koeman has been very adamant that Barca needs a box-to-box midfielder. Hence, the player swap deal will allow Barcelona to partially fix the salary issues, since Griezmann's wage is twice the one Saúl is receiving from Atlético, and give Koeman a player that he has been insistently asking for. One of the reasons Saúl's future seemed stuck until Barcelona started negotiating for him was that the player had been very picky when choosing potential destinations. Saúl not only comes from Atlético's youth team, but he's a fan of Atlético. Hence, he was not willing to leave the Colchoneros except if he was transferred to a very selected group of teams, and Barcelona was one of those. Actually, the only reason he's willing to leave Atlético is because he feels that Simeone's playing style is too defensive and safe, and Saúl believes that in a more offensive team, such as Barça, he would perform better. Another reason Saúl is prioritizing Barcelona over other teams such as Liverpool, Manchester United or Juventus is because he would stay in Spain. He doesn't want to leave his home country since his first child was recently born. Hence, all the parts seems to be on the same page, and the transfer might be a matter of time. Looking back, this news makes a lot of sense since a couple days ago, Koeman was interviewed during a golf tournament, and when asked about Griezmann's future, the Dutch coach was very elusive. He certainly knew about the negotiations between Barcelona and Atlético. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comment section what do you think about this potential player swap deal between Saúl and Griezmann. Stay safe and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. In a recent article, the journalist Lluís Canut has discussed Koeman's plans for the coming season. We should remember that Lluís Canut is a very close friend of Koeman, to the point that sometimes he speaks for Ronald when the Dutch coach wants to leak some information to the press. According to the journalist, Koeman is currently planning going back to the 4-3-3 formation that Barcelona had been using for the last decade. Due to Barca's weak defense, Ronald changed tactics during last season, primarily using a 3-5-2 formation, which allowed the team to be less exposed to the opponent's counters, but limit Barca's offensive output. For the 2021 season, Koeman's plan is playing with three strikers, where Messi would be back to the right side, while Agüero would take the center-forward position, and Depay would start from the left. That would leave Griezmann on the bench, a situation that already happened in some key games last season. The French striker has been in the news recently since he has been linked to Manchester City in the case the citizens cannot acquire Harry Kane. Barcelona would be open to transfer Antoine since Koeman prefers other players over him, such as Depay, and Griezmann's salary is the second highest of the current squad. The newspaper Mundo Deportivo reports that Antoine is not shutting down any option so far. Even though he would prefer staying as Barca player, he would consider leaving if his destination was a top European club. According to the report, the French international would consider Juventus, Manchester City, Inter or Bayern Munich. So going back to Koeman's plan, with Barcelona not being able to further improve the current defense, Ronald has decided that Serginho Dest and Emerson Royal will compete for the right fullback position, while Jordi Alba will remain as the starting left back, with the recently promoted Alejandro Balde being his substitute. So far, the club has decided against buying a replacement for Junior Firpo, who was recently sold to Leeds. In case Jordi Alba gets injured and Balde is not able to perform at the highest level, Koeman is planning on alternatively using Sergi Roberto on the right side and move Serginho Dest to the left. The American has already played on that position in the past, such as last season's game against Real Madrid. Barcelona was very interested in acquiring Gaya from Valencia. However, recent issues with the tight salary cap that the Spanish league has set for Barca this season might force the club to postpone the transfer for the next year. Lastly, a player who will not be under Koeman's direction next season is Carles Aleñá. The midfielder has been finally sold to Getafe, the team he was playing for on a loan last season. At the end, Barcelona has received 5 million euros and will receive a percentage of a potential transfer fee if the player is sold in the near future. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comment section what do you think about all these changes Koeman is planning for the coming season. Stay safe and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. So Jorge Messi, father of Leo, and his agent is traveling to Barcelona next week to meet with Laporta and discuss Messi's future. According to the Argentinian reporter Maximiliano Grillo, who was the first to break the news regarding the coming meeting, Leo voting during the presidential elections was a public display to show that the player is open to negotiate a new deal with Barca. Laporta has been designing a plan to convince Messi to stay. Due to the financial situation of the club, Messi's renovation would require a decrease in his current salary, the highest of any professional athlete in the world. To compensate that, Laporta is planning to propose a competitive project that would include acquiring a big star. Laporta is currently focused on Haaland, plus other quality players such as Kun Agüero, who is also a very close friend of Leo, and Alaba. Furthermore, Laporta plans to offer Leo a position within the club for life. First as a player until the Qatar World Cup in 2022, since Leo is reportedly obsessed with the World Cup because it will be his last chance to win the tournament. After that, Leo could stay with Barcelona or move to play his latest years in the Major Soccer League in the US, an idea that he has been considering for quite some time now. Barca would facilitate the deal either through an affiliate franchise or with an already existing team. Finally, once he retires, Leo will become an ambassador of Barcelona. It's worth remembering that 2 months ago Messi was interviewed in a Spanish TV station and he mentioned that he would like to remain as part of Barca once he retires. This news about the meeting between Jorge Messi and Laporta came one day after staff and players within PSG leaked their optimism on acquiring Messi for the next season. A PSG player went so far to say that the latest Champions League game between PSG and Barca was their last match with Messi as an opponent. We will have to wait for the next week to see how the story develops. So that was all for today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. If you have any comment, write it down below and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Memphis Depay's future is getting closer and closer to Barcelona. As previously discussed in this channel, Barca was planning on acquiring a free agent to cover one of the strikers' position that the current squad is missing, and Memphis Depay and Kun Agüero were the top 2 candidates being considered. Well, according to the Spanish newspaper Sport, Barcelona has finally decided to go for both players, since Mateu Alemany and his team consider that Depay and Agüero are complementary and would provide different strengths to the team. Memphis Depay was already very close to sign with Barcelona last summer, after the arrival of Ronald Koeman. However, the club had to put on hold the transfer since it was above the salary limit the Spanish league sets for each team. The situation has changed this season, and Memphis Depay will finally play for Barcelona. According to the French newspaper L'Equipe, negotiations between Barcelona and Memphis Depay agent have accelerated during the last couple of weeks, and both parts are close on signing the new deal. The official announcement though, it wouldn't be released until the end of the season, where both Spanish and French leagues are concluded. We should remember that Memphis Depay had already reached an agreement with the previous president, Josep Maria Bartomeu. However, after the arrival of Laporta, the agreement had to be renegotiated, since Barca under Laporta's leadership is trying to have a tighter financial control. This is a similar situation to Eric Garcia's. Depay has finally agreed to a lower salary, which will progressively increase over time. Furthermore, part of his income will depend on his personal performance, such as goals scored, as well as the team's success. The arrival of Memphis Depay is great news for Barca, considering he is in his prime, 27 years old. He is highly versatile, being able to play as a striker or as a winger. His performance this season has been top-notch, scoring 22 goals and giving 10 assists, and he comes as a free agent. In the middle of all the news regarding his future, Memphis Depay has published an Instagram post where he says, "It is time for me to take control of my career. As I've come to a point where I need to make an important choice about my future, I've decided to negotiate my future deals together with my team of trusted confidence, backed by legal experts. I will decide about my destination myself. You will be the first to know." Well, if L'Equipe information is correct, we might know very soon. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know your opinion down below in the comments, what you think about Memphis Depay coming to Barcelona, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. We are still in shock after the news that were leaked yesterday about Barcelona being close to sign a sponsorship deal for 500 million euros that would help to attempt important moves in the coming transfer market. Well, today the journalist Xavi Torres from Spanish TV channel TV3, which is very close to Barça and it usually reports breaking news about the club, has reported that the last week Laporta, president of Barça, ate lunch with Jorge Messi, father and agent of Leo Messi, to discuss the future of the Argentinian star. Messi's father discussed Leo's concern about not having received a renovation offer from Barça yet. Laporta assured that the offer was coming in the coming 2 weeks. He mentioned that they couldn't make any official offer until the auditory that is currently being done to evaluate the financial situation of the club is finally complete. Nevertheless, both of them were very optimistic on Messi extending his contract with Barça and discussed different possibilities. Messi and his father would like to consider a long-term contract, similar to the one back in the day Juan Carlos Navarro from the basketball team signed. In that contract, Navarro agreed on a 10-year contract, part as a player, followed by a position in the club as a manager. In the case of Messi, Leo would be interested in a 2-year contract with Barcelona to then have the opportunity to join a Major League Soccer franchise in the US as a player and also as a Barça ambassador, to finally return to Barcelona to be part of the soccer direction chart. During the meeting, Messi's father was extremely supportive regarding the financial situation of the club, to the extent that he openly discussed with Laporta that Leo would be open to reduce by half his current salary if that money was used to obtain high-quality players. One of the names that was discussed during the meeting was Haaland. Overall, the meeting left very good feeling in both sides, and there is an increasing optimism within the club that Leo will remain as a Barça player in the coming future. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed these videos, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about Messi staying beyond his career as a player, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Mino Raiola and Alf Inch Haaland, agent and father of Erling Haaland respectively, have been this morning in Barcelona, meeting face-to-face with Laporta to discuss the interest of Barça for the player. The agent and the father of Haaland were caught on camera leaving Barcelona airport after arriving in a private plane from Niza. As we know, Erling Haaland is the main objective of Barcelona in the coming transfer market. Laporta is planning on using all the money Barça has for the transfer market in Haaland and then fill the squad with free agents such as Eric Garcia and Depay. Unfortunately for Barça, other clubs such as Real Madrid, Manchester United, Manchester City and Chelsea are also trying to acquire the player, and Mino Raiola is very aware of that. Although little information has been leaked to the press, sources from Barcelona mentioned that the meeting was very positive. Laporta didn't do any offer, but confirmed that the club is extremely interested in the Norwegian striker. Because Borussia Dortmund is said to be asking a transfer fee around 180 million euros, which is not feasible in the current circumstances, Laporta discussed with Mino Raiola the option of the player pressuring his current club in order to be transferred to Barcelona. It's worth noting that Mino Raiola is auctioning Haaland to many clubs in Europe. After the meeting with Laporta, Raiola took the airplane and went to Madrid to hear a potential offer from Real Madrid. The good news for Barça fans is that Florentino Perez, current president of Real Madrid, and Mino Raiola don't have a good relationship. According to the journalist Fabrizio Romano, Mino Raiola is going to meet with other clubs in the coming days. Haaland is likely to be transferred this summer, since next season he will have a buyout clause of 75 million euros. Hence, Borussia Dortmund has to sell him this season if they want to get more value. It's reported that they already have a replacement for him, Alexander Isak, a Swedish striker who is currently playing for Real Sociedad, that would be bought by Borussia for around 30 million euros. So in summary, today was the first move for Haaland. Laporta didn't do an offer, and just expressed Barça interest in the player. Both Mino Raiola and Haaland's father seem to be pleased with what they heard from Laporta, but they are going to continue auctioning the player. We will have to wait to see how this story evolves. So that was all for today. Thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. The end of Barca's season, where the team performance plumbed during the last and key La Liga games, will have important consequences, starting from the bench. Last Thursday, Koeman and Laporta met in a restaurant in the center of Barcelona, where they discussed the evolution of the team during the season and the reasons for the poor performance displayed during the last matches. The meeting has been described by staff within the club as positive and cordial. Nevertheless, according to the radio station RAC 1, Laporta left the restaurant fully convinced to sack Koeman and to replace him with another coach. The only scenario where Koeman would remain as a Barca coach in the coming season is if Barcelona couldn't sign a proper replacement. This week, Xavi arrived to Barcelona from Qatar to enjoy some vacation days with his family. A lot of speculation followed his arrival. However, no one from Barcelona has reached out to Xavi yet. It's worth noting that Xavi just renewed his contract as a coach of Al Salat, and he had recently rejected offers from the Brazilian national team and Borussia Dortmund. Going back to the candidates to replace Koeman, RAC 1's news reported that Hans-Dieter Flick is the main candidate being considered by Barcelona. The current Bayern Munich coach is leaving the Bavarian team next week. He has a verbal agreement with the German Federation to take the role of a head coach of the national team after the Euro Cup. However, Laporta's call has changed Hansi Flick's original plans, and he is considering moving to Barcelona next. The German manager is highly valued by Barcelona staff because of his intensity, work methodology and playing style. It is unusual that a coach that has won so much in only 2 seasons leaves his current club. However, the personal disputes between him and the Bayern Munich sports director resulted in his departure from Munich. The next days will be key to define whether Hansi Flick is coming to Barcelona or not. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comment section which coach would you prefer for the coming season, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Joan Laporta spoke in the Catalan Sport Festival, where he declared that this summer was the end of a cycle for Barcelona and the beginning of a new one. It was his way to say that big changes are ahead. Laporta and his team have already designed a plan to rebuild the squad that has been in clear decline for a few years now. The current season ends next Monday, and important moves will start to occur very soon. So far, only 8 players of the current squad are untouchable. Ter Stegen, Araujo, Mingueza, De Jong, Pedri, Ilaix, Ansu and Messi. All of them but Leo will be the columns that support Barcelona's future. Regarding the list of transferable players, it contains 10 names: Neto, Junior, Umtiti, Ricky, Pjanic, Coutinho, Matthews, Griezmann, Braithwaite and Dembele. Regarding the last one, Barca would like to keep Dembele for many years. However, the French doesn't seem to be interested in renewing his contract, which ends next year. Solving Coutinho's and Griezmann's future is a top priority for Laporta, since they are the 2 top paid players of the squad behind Messi. Coutinho is going to leave the club no matter what. The only question is how much he's going to leave as a transfer fee. In the last weeks, he has been associated with Everton, who would be willing to pay around 40 million euros. Regarding Griezmann, he's in a weird spot. His performance has been irregular, showing quality moments at times, while in other games he seemed to disappear. Because his market value is still high, Barcelona is seriously considering selling him. Nevertheless, his future seems to be dependent on Messi's. If Leo renews his contract, then Griezmann is out. If Messi leaves Barcelona, then Antoine would stay. Pjanic is another player that Barcelona has high hopes of getting a large transfer fee for. As the days go by, new teams seem to be interested in acquiring the Bosnian. The last team to appear in the news is Chelsea. In the case of Braithwaite, Junior, Matthews and Umtiti, Barcelona is going to get whatever they can from. Some teams have shown interest in Braithwaite and Neto, mainly from the Premier League, and Junior, who has been linked to PSG. All of them would leave around 15 million euros each. Matthews and Umtiti are more complicated cases. Barcelona is unlikely to get anything in return, and according to reports, Mateo Alemany is considering letting them go for free, as far as Barcelona doesn't have to pay any salary. Ricky's future also seems to be far from Camp Nou. In his case, though, he would not be sold but rather loaned to another team. Although no one doubts about his potential, he hasn't been regularly used by any of the last three coaches. If things doesn't change, he might end up stuck and wasting his talent. Playing regularly in another team seems to be the best option for him. A third group of players are the four veterans that have been a staple for Barcelona in the past: Piqué, Busquets, Jordi Alba and Sergi Roberto. Because all of them started playing in Barcelona youth teams and three of them are Barça captains, Laporta wants to be respectful with their situation, but at the same time openly discuss that some of them are past their prime. Barcelona wants them to continue, but under significantly lower salaries. If they were not going to accept those new conditions, then Laporta and his team would try to sell them. The last group of players are Dest, Trincao and Lenglet. What happens with them will depend on whether Koeman continues or not, and what happened with the other players. For instance, Dest has been playing regularly for Ronald, however a lot of people within the club are not very optimistic about his future and skills. Regarding Trincao, his future might depend on Dembele's, where if the French leaves, he will likely stay. Lenglet, in theory, would continue in Barcelona, but the club remains open in case a good offer arrives. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know your opinion down below in the comments and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. We are going to discuss today's news including Kun Agüero and Alaba being offered to the presidential candidates, Koeman wish list for the next season, and new training changes to address the missed penalties. So let's start. So Barcelona is under very unusual presidential election. In the past elections, candidates would often participate on televised debates, where they would discuss about their projects, potential managers and players. For instance, Laporta won the 2003 election after reaching an agreement with Manchester United for the pass of David Beckham. Current crisis, however, has changed the situation. The financial health of the big football clubs is severely compromised, and even clubs with state support such as PSG are openly discussing their struggle on keeping their stars and often the giant salaries on the roster. Under the current events, Barcelona and the three presidential candidates are exploring the transfer market to acquire good players whose contract is ending this summer, such as Eric Garcia. Two players who have been offered to multiple candidates are Kun Agüero and Alaba. Kun Agüero, who will turn 33 next June, hasn't participated much this season due to injuries and testing positive for COVID recently. Barcelona managers still want to get a top striker such as Haaland or Lautaro Martinez, but under current circumstances it seems unlikely that they will be able to afford a large transfer fee next season. Hence, the candidates see Kun Agüero as a short-term opportunity to get a world-class striker for free, while they wait to get a younger striker in the future. It's worth noting that Kun is very close friend to Leo, who is waiting to talk with the new president to decide whether he will stay or he will leave Barcelona next season, so that could be another incentive to get Kun Agüero. The other player offered to the candidates is David Alaba. The 28-year-old player from Bayern Munich is very versatile, being able to play as a centre-back, left-back or defensive midfielder. Barca interest in Alaba is not new, since this would be the third attempt on acquiring the player after the summers of 2012 and 2018. As we discussed recently, Alaba has been linked to Real Madrid by some Spanish media. However, Joan Laporta, who has very close relation with his manager, Pini Zahavi, confirmed that the player hadn't signed any contract yet and he's open to offers. In the same way, candidates are screening the market to find cheap players that could improve current Barcelona squad. Ronald Koeman has made his own player wish list for the next season. In addition to Eric Garcia, whose arrival to Barcelona is a done deal, waiting to be announced once the new president takes office, Koeman's list includes two other players whose contract also ends this summer. The first is Georginio Wijnaldum, midfielder playing for Liverpool, and the second is Depay, who currently plays for Olympique de Lyon and is second top scorer of the Ligue 1 behind Mbappé. Depay already reached an agreement with Barcelona last October, but the transfer didn't materialize. He's still committed to wear the Blaugrana jersey next season, but other teams such as PSG and Juventus are also chasing him. Koeman knows Depay and Wijnaldum very well, since he trained them both during his stint as a manager of the Netherlands national team. The last name linked to Barcelona is Juan Bernat. The Spaniard left-back has wide experience playing for elite teams such as Valencia, Bayern Munich and PSG. His contract with the French team is also finishing this summer, and Barcelona managers are keeping a close eye. Barca has been looking for years for a player that can challenge Jordi Alba for the starting position, providing some healthy competition within the team. The last player bought for that position was Junior Firpo. Unfortunately, he didn't perform as expected, and he's likely going to be sold during the next transfer market. In another set of news, Barcelona has already missed 5 out of 12 penalties this season. In the last press conference, Koeman confirmed that he found that statistic completely unacceptable for a team as Barcelona, and they were focusing a portion of the training to improve those numbers. It's worth noting that back in the day, Koeman himself was an excellent penalty shooter, and he used to be the player trusted by Johan Cruyff to attempt the penalty shots. So this was all for today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. If you have any comment, write it down below, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. The end of the season is near and Laporta and his team have to take tough decisions to plan Barcelona's next season. Today we are going to discuss those key points that will define Barca's potential success in the coming years. First, Koeman's position as a coach. Although Koeman signed a 2-year contract back in June 2020, he might not be the next Barcelona coach. Ronald has been very open on his will to continue in his current role, despite Barcelona's weak end of the season. He feels strong to continue with the squad renovation that he started a year ago. No one can deny that Koeman had to take his position under the worst conditions possible. During what everyone expected to be a wasted season, he won the Spanish Cup and more importantly, he invested in young talent over veteran players. No matter what happens with Koeman next, Barca's future surely will rely with many players that Koeman gave a chance, such as Ansu Fati until he got injured, Pedri, Ilaix, Mingueza and Araujo. Second, Messi's future. That a lot of things change after Laporta's arrival is a fact. One of those things is Messi's attitude. The good relation between Barcelona's president and main star is widely accepted, even by opposing media. All news published so far are quite optimistic regarding Messi renewing his contract with Barcelona. Nevertheless, there are a couple of points that cast some doubt. First and foremost, Neymar just renewed his contract with PSG. Everyone expected that Neymar was going to force his exit from Paris to reunite with his good friend. The fact that the Brazilian star backpedaled last minute and decided to remain in Paris might be a sign about Messi's future. Third, acquiring a top star. Barcelona is close on signing several free agents, including Eric Garcia, Kun Agüero and potentially Memphis Depay. However, all the focus is on getting a top striker that provides the goals and quality lost after Luis Suarez left the team. Haaland is the top priority, but his price is going to be extraordinarily high. Some sources suggest a transfer fee between 125 and 150 million euros. The second and the third options on the list are Lautaro Martinez and Harry Kane, which would be much more economic, but there is less consensus within the club regarding their ability to lead a club like Barcelona. Fourth, exits. The current squad is filled with players that clearly don't have the level to play for Barcelona. Some of them have drawn the attention from other clubs and should be easy to sell, like Braithwaite, Junior or Pjanic. Two players though, Umtiti and Coutinho, are going to be a challenge. They have very high salaries and their market value is too low, making it difficult to find a suitable club that is willing to get them. Fifth, salary update. The club will have to renegotiate the salary of the players, considering that the current crisis has decreased Barcelona's source of income. Current salaries are not sustainable, and the club might propose extending some contracts in exchange for decreasing the annual salary, spreading the same cost over a longer period of time. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the videos, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below your opinion and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Today we are going to talk about the topic of the week, likely of the month, Leo's Messi contract being leaked. By now you have probably read about unusual clauses that were in the contract, such as high fidelity fees to be paid independently of whether the player leaves or stays. Side note, those clauses were not asked by Messi, but they were suggested by Bartomeu himself, the former president. So as I was saying, by now you probably read all about that, and I thought that it might be more interesting to discuss on what is behind the league, why it happened, and who might be behind this. So let's start. In the summer of last year, Messi unexpectedly requested Barcelona to be released from his contract. He used a clause of his contract that allowed him to become a free agent if he requested it within a time frame. Fortunately for Barca fans, Messi did a mistake and he did his request out of time, so he was forced to stay with the team. The surprising action from a player who has been in Barcelona since 2003 was the result of his increasing frustration with the then president Bartomeu. Bartomeu was in the board of directors of Barcelona during the presidencies of Joan Laporta and Sandro Rosell, and after Sandro Rosell resigned due to personal issues, he took the lead of the club. Back then, Barcelona had a very strong team, and Bartomeu took advantage of that, having early success. However, he failed to renew the players that were getting older, and slowly but steady, the team got worse and worse. Furthermore, players that he brought for insane transfer fees, more than $100 million, such as Coutinho, Dembele or Griezmann, didn't deliver as expected, and ended up almost bankrupting the club without getting any benefit on the pitch. Messi's request to be released, combined with Barca's disappointing performance in the last seasons, ended up with Bartomeu's resignation, and new elections were called to elect a new president. As a result, it's reported that Bartomeu's board of directors blamed Messi for those turn of events. This becomes significant because Messi's contract was only known by Leo himself, his father, which is his representative, and 5 members of the club. 3 of them were the ones who signed the contract as Barcelona representative. Obviously, Messi and his father didn't leak the contract, therefore only people from Barcelona, or most likely who used to be in Barcelona, leaked it. At the moment, it's unknown who did it. However, Bartomeu and Jordi Mestre, a former director, have publicly come out saying that they did not. However, reporters close to Barcelona suggest that some of the former members of the board of directors did it. The intention behind the leak are very clear. One of the big criticisms to Bartomeu and his directors is that they almost bankrupt the club. By leaking the contract, the person who did it would try to blame Messi and his huge salary as the main reason of the current Barcelona financial situation, therefore trying first to find an excuse about their poor financial management, as well as trying to put the blame on the person who forced the new elections and the previous presidential resignation. It's sad to see this self-destructive nature of Barcelona, which we had seen in the past but we thought was long gone. In a moment where Messi is deciding about his future, it feels this is just another push for him to get out of the club. It's worth noting that Barcelona supporters have overwhelmingly sided with Messi. Sadly, games are currently played without fans, because I feel if the supporters were in the stadium, they would be chanting and supporting for Leo, and that might have some effect over the player. In this complicated situation, Joan Laporta, one of the presidential candidates and the front-runner according to all the polls, has got in contact with the player just to show him support and ensure him that everyone is on his side. So in summary, it feels that whoever did the leak didn't get what he was expecting, and Barca fans are remaining loyal to Leo Messi. This leak though might be the last push Messi needed to take his bag and go to play somewhere else. We will see. So that was all for today. As always, thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe. If you have any comment, write it down below, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. So today we are going to review one of the most controversial events in Spanish football history, the frustrated transfer of Di Stéfano to Barca. Alfredo Di Stéfano was an Argentinian striker, widely regarded as one of the best football players of all time. Although he played for multiple teams, he is best known for his 11-year stint playing for Real Madrid, where he contributed to the club's domination of the European Cup and the Spanish League during the 50s. What many people do not remember is that Di Stéfano was at one point a Barca player, but the Spanish authorities at the time interfered, cutting short his time with the club. In 1953, Alfredo Di Stéfano was playing in Colombia, in the Millonarios of Bogota, even though his rights belonged to River Plate. Following the recommendation of Josep Samitier, Barcelona former star and chief scout at the time, and with the approval of UEFA, Barça bought Di Stéfano from River Plate for 2 million of Argentinian pesos. Nevertheless, Spanish Football Federation shockingly rejected the transfer, arguing that Di Stéfano had a contract with Millonarios of Bogota, a team that had been banned by FIFA at the time. The controversy came because the Colombian Football Association was still not affiliated with FIFA, and Millonarios of Bogota, as well as other Colombian clubs, would exploit that by acquiring players from other teams without paying any transfer fee. That was considered illegal under FIFA rules, and for that reason they were banned. While this dispute between Barcelona and the Spanish Federation was being resolved, Real Madrid interfered by doing an offer to the Millonarios of Bogota for the player. This action created a conflict between Barcelona and Real Madrid, which had to be ruled in a court. Initially, FIFA supported Barca's claim, and Di Stéfano moved to Barcelona, where he joined the team and even played in a few friendly matches. Nevertheless, the Spanish Football Federation still didn't approve the federative form to confirm the transfer. Moreover, as a result of Real Madrid's intense pressure, the Di Stéfano case was finally resolved in the National Delegation of Physical Education and Sports, where an arbitrator sentenced that Di Stéfano would be alternating teams, playing one season for Real Madrid and one season for Barcelona, and so on. As a consequence of this resolution, which was perceived as a political attempt to prevent Barcelona dominance in Spanish football, on October 23 of 1953, Barcelona gave up its option on Di Stéfano. All this situation impeded Kubala and Di Stéfano playing together in the same team, in what might have been the best duo in football history. So that was all for today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed these videos, please smash the like button and subscribe. If you have any comment, write it down below, and see you next time. Hello everyone, and welcome to FC Bytes. After Georgino Wijnaldum ditched Barcelona for PSG, Mateu Alemany and his team have been forced to continue screening the market to find a midfielder that can fill that void. In this context, many agents have reached out to Barcelona offering players they believe are suitable for Barca playing style. One of the names offered is Donny van de Beek, who currently plays for Manchester United. The Dutch international was the Red Devils' big signing last summer, after shining with Ajax for 5 seasons. We should remember that Ajax, led by Van de Beek, De Jong and De Ligt, managed to reach the Champions League semi-finals 2 seasons ago, eliminating more powerful teams such as Real Madrid and Juventus. Although Van de Beek started very strong with Manchester United, scoring on his debut against Crystal Palace, he ended up having a secondary role, making only 4 Premier League starts last season. Hence, Van de Beek wants to finish his stint at Old Trafford and move to Barcelona. According to the newspaper Sport, the player agent has told Mateu Alemany that Van de Beek is even willing to come to Barcelona on a loan. Barca has not officially responded to the offer, since they are still looking to all potential opportunities out there. Nevertheless, at the moment, Barcelona would prefer a more defensive player. Van de Beek is a central midfielder who tends to have a more offensive role compared to his counterparts on other teams. He is great playing between lines and making runs into the box. Another news media that reported on the potential transfer of Van de Beek to Barcelona is The Express. The British website published that Manchester United could ask Pjanic or Coutinho in part exchange for Van de Beek. Coutinho enjoyed a fine spell at Liverpool before joining Barca. His team in the Premier League showcased his talent and skills, and many teams still hope he could capture his past form from his time in Liverpool if surrounded by the right players. Talking about Pjanic, his future is far from Camp Nou. We have been discussing in the channel that Juventus, after the arrival of Allegri as new coach, has intensified contacts with Barcelona to get the player back. Well, according to the French newspaper Le Temps Sport, two more clubs, PSG and Chelsea, have recently reached out and asked about the Bosnian. Another midfielder who might be leaving Barca soon is Carles Aleñá. Although the Spaniard still has 1 year left in his contract, he would prefer moving to another club where he can play regularly. So far, he has received offers from Wolverhampton, Valencia and Getafe, where he played last season on a loan. The player is currently on vacations and is waiting to return to talk to the Barcelona president Joan Laporta. Sources from inside the club did not rule out the possibility that he starts the pre-season with Barcelona, playing some exhibition games before taking a final decision. Lastly, as we discussed a week ago, Lorenzo Pellegrini is one of the options Barcelona is considering to improve the midfield. The player has a release clause of 30 million euros and only 1 year left in his contract. This puts his current club, Roma, in a very weak position to negotiate. According to the Corriere dello Sport, Roma has offered a contract extension that the player has rejected. Nevertheless, both sides have scheduled a meeting for the coming week to continue negotiating. Hence, if Barca really wants the player, it might need to do a move soon, or might risk losing the player for good. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comment section what do you think about the potential arrival of Van de Beek to Barcelona, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Bayern Munich has been trying for a while to improve its right flank. Well, according to the radio station Track 1, German representatives have contacted Barcelona to ask for the price of Serginho Dest, Sergi Roberto and Emerson Royal, since they would like to sign one of them. According to the radio station, the main candidate would be Serginho Dest, who was already very close to sign for the Bavarian team when he was playing for Ajax. The German newspaper Bild has also reported this news. Despite Bayern Munich interest, the three players want to stay in Barcelona. Dest joined Barca's summer training sessions earlier than expected, hoping to become the starting right back this season, while Emerson just joined Barca and is very excited about it. Sergi Roberto seems to be the only one who is open to leave the club, but he is not interested in moving to Germany and he would only consider a top Premier League team. Another player that might be leaving Barca soon is Lenglet. The arrival of Eric Garcia, the good performance of Araujo and Mingueza last season and the leading skills of Piqué have left Lenglet as the fifth centre-back. Since Barca needs to cut down players' salaries to register Messi and the new arrivals, the club is reportedly negotiating a loan for the French international. According to the journalist Gerard Romero, who usually has very accurate information about Barca, negotiations with several Premier League teams are ongoing. Moreover, the loan would include a compulsory purchase option, where if Lenglet played a certain number of games, the Premier League team would be forced to get the player for good. Lastly, the newspaper Sport reported that Dembele's injury during the Euro jeopardized a massive transfer deal between several clubs. After the French international had shown mixed messages regarding his will to extend his contract with Barca, which we should remember expires in 2022, Barcelona put him on the market, and according to the Spanish newspaper, the club had already agreed on a player swap deal that would include 3 teams in total. The player exchange was almost a done deal, but the unfortunate injury frustrated, and now Barca is forced to negotiate a new deal with the player to avoid that he leaves as a free agent next June. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comment section whether you would sell Serginho Dest to Bayern Munich. Stay safe and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Barcelona keeps working on building a squad capable of competing for all trophies next season. Two key positions Barca wants to improve are the midfield and the defense. The weak financial health of the club, however, only allows to get new players through player swap deals or loans. In this context, Barcelona has been screening the market. trying to find unique opportunities that allow the club to improve the team while decreasing the salary table. And according to recent news published by Spanish and Italian media, Barcelona might have found those opportunities. The first player that has been discussed is Donny van de Beek, who after a first disappointing season at Old Trafford with only 1 goal and 2 assists after 35 games played, is looking to move to another team. Even though the Red Devils coach Solskjaer is publicly saying that he wants the player to stay, it's obvious that he's not going to have a major role in the coming season, since Solskjaer prefers Pogba and Bruno Fernandes before him. According to the newspaper Mundo Deportivo, the player has been offered to Barcelona, who was positive about it, only if can include Umtiti in the deal. We should remember that Manchester United wants to improve the centre-back position. The Red Devils are currently negotiating the transfer of Varane from Real Madrid and could be open to get another centre-back this summer. The Spanish newspaper reveals that Barca is proposing to get Van de Beek on a 1-year loan, while Umtiti could leave either on a loan or transferred. The other name that has been linked to Barcelona is Alessio Romagnoli. The Italian centre-back has only 1 year left in his contract, and AC Milan is forced to sell him now or risk losing him for free next summer. According to Italian media, Barcelona is the club that has shown the most interest in the player, and it would be closer to signing him. AC Milan has recently asked Barca about Coutinho and Pjanic, but the Lombardian team couldn't pay a transfer fee for them. Hence, a player swap deal would be the perfect situation for both clubs. Romagnoli would fill the left-footed centre-back position Barcelona has been looking for, particularly if Lenglet finally leaves to Arsenal or Tottenham. Regarding the player that Romagnoli would be exchanged for, all focus are on Coutinho, since AC Milan is in need of an attacking midfielder after the departure of Calhanoglu to Inter. Regarding Pjanic, he has been a lot in the news recently since Juve, Inter and AC Milan are interested in him. The latest news on Pjanic has been published by Calciomercato, which reported that his agent, Fali Ramanadi, is currently traveling to Italy to negotiate with Inter. We should wait and see. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below in the comment section your opinion about these two potential players that could arrive to Barcelona. Stay safe and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. So finally, Memphis Depay has been officially announced as new Barcelona player. After several weeks where his agents and Barca went back and forth negotiating the release clause and the contract length, the player has finally signed the contract today. At the end, Depay has agreed on a 2-year deal with a release clause of 500 million euros. Memphis is a direct request from Ronald Koeman, who knows him very well from his time as manager of the Dutch national team. Depay is a talented and physically strong striker with a fine shot. He has a good one-on-one and also likes to play a part in the build-up. Although Memphis can play in any offensive position, in Barcelona he is expected to start either as a central forward or as a left striker. Depay came to the big stage in 2014 when he became the youngest player to ever compete in a World Cup for the Netherlands. A year later, Louis van Gaal bought him for Manchester United. At the time Memphis was only 21 and he had a complex personality as a result of a hard upbringing. His time in Manchester was complicated, particularly after the arrival of Mourinho, who didn't give him any opportunity. Nevertheless, he got a second chance in Lyon. In France, he has played 3.5 seasons and ended up being the team's captain. Playing for Olympique allowed him to polish his skills and become a more versatile striker. In his last season playing in France, he scored 20 goals, ending second on the top scorer table, only behind Mbappé. He has also been a prolific scorer with the Netherlands, scoring 13 goals and 14 assists in the last 21 games. So these were the news of today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. Let me know down below how excited are you about Memphis Depay finally signing for Barcelona, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Today we are going to talk about the topic of the week, likely of the month, Leo's Messi contract being leaked. By now you have probably read about unusual clauses that were in the contract, such as high fidelity fees to be paid independently of whether the player leaves or stays. Side note, those clauses were not asked by Messi, but they were suggested by Bartomeu himself, the former president. So as I was saying, by now you probably read all about that, and I thought that it might be more interesting to discuss on what is behind the leak, why it happened, and who might be behind this. So let's start. In the summer of last year, Messi unexpectedly requested Barcelona to be released from his contract. He used a clause of his contract that allowed him to become a free agent if he requested it within a time frame. Fortunately for Barca fans, Messi did a mistake and he did his request out of time, so he was forced to stay with the team. The surprising action from a player who has been in Barcelona since 2003 was the result of his increasing frustration with the then president Bartomeu. Bartomeu was in the board of directors of Barcelona during the presidencies of Joan Laporta and Sandro Rosell, and after Sandro Rosell resigned due to personal issues, he took the lead of the club. Back then, Barcelona had a very strong team, and Bartomeu took advantage of that, having early success. However, he failed to renew the players that were getting older, and slowly but steady, the team got worse and worse. Furthermore, players that he brought for insane transfer fees, more than $100 million, such as Coutinho, Dembele or Griezmann, didn't deliver as expected, and ended up almost bankrupting the club without getting any benefit on the pitch. Messi's request to be released, combined with Barca's disappointing performance in the last seasons, ended up with Bartomeu's resignation, and new elections were called to elect a new president. As a result, it's reported that Bartomeu board of directors blamed Messi for those turn of events. This becomes significant because Messi's contract was only known by Leo himself, his father, which is his representative, and 5 members of the club. 3 of them were the ones who signed the contract as Barcelona representative. Obviously, Messi and his father didn't leak the contract, therefore only people from Barcelona, or most likely who used to be in Barcelona, leaked it. At the moment, it's unknown who did it. However, Bartomeu and Jordi Mestre, a former director, have publicly come out saying that they did not. However, reporters close to Barcelona suggest that some of the former members of the board of directors did it. The intention behind the leak are very clear. One of the big criticisms to Bartomeu and his directors is that they almost bankrupt the club. By leaking the contract, the person who did it would try to blame Messi and his huge salary as the main reason of the current Barcelona financial situation, therefore trying first to find an excuse about their poor financial management, as well as trying to put the blame on the person who forced the new elections and the previous presidential resignation. It's sad to see this self-destructive nature of Barcelona, which we had seen in the past but we thought was long gone. In a moment where Messi is deciding about his future, it feels this is just another push for him to get out of the club. It's worth noting that Barcelona supporters have overwhelmingly sided with Messi. Sadly, games are currently played without fans, because I feel if the supporters were in the stadium, they would be chanting and supporting for Leo, and that might have some effect over the player. In this complicated situation, Joan Laporta, one of the presidential candidates, and the front-runner according to all the polls, has got in contact with the player just to show him support and ensure him that everyone is on his side. So in summary, it feels that whoever did the leak didn't get what he was expecting, and Barca fans are remaining loyal to Leo Messi. This leak though might be the last push Messi needed to take his bag and go to play somewhere else. We will see. So that was all for today. As always, thank you very much for your attention. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe. If you have any comment, write it down below, and see you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to FC Bytes. Today we are going to recap on Barcelona victory against Elche 0-2, providing you as usual the good, the bad and the ugly of yesterday's match, and we will also go through the news such as Sergi Roberto's return, so let's start. Barcelona won the 4th straight game in the league with goals of De Jong and Riqui Puig. It's the best strike since the season started. Although Barcelona was not brilliant by any means, and at some parts of the match Barca's playing style was a little bit slow, the team has achieved sound regularity and consistency. Besides a defense mistake that caused a clear goal occasion for Elche, Barcelona didn't suffer and it was in control of the whole game. In the press conference after the match, Koeman was quite satisfied with his team performance, highlighting Barcelona's defensive pressure. This used to be a staple on Barcelona playing style since Guardiola, but in the last years of Valverde and the half-season particularly of Setien, Barcelona lost it. So without further ado, let's check the good, the bad and the ugly of yesterday's match. The good, De Jong mobility. When De Jong was playing for Ajax, one of his strengths was his ability to break lines and bring the ball near the opponent's area. During his first season in Barca, he looked like he was pulling back a lot, playing very restrained and limiting his influence on. This season, particularly the last few games, he's starting to look a lot like the player we saw in the Netherlands, covering a lot of space and having a strong influence on Barcelona attack both with goals and assists. The second good was Ter Stegen. Yesterday was a clear example of what a Barcelona goalkeeper are for. Yesterday's game was reasonably controlled by Barca, limiting Elche opportunities. However, a misunderstanding on defense allowed Rigoni, the opponent striker, to face the goalkeeper on a one-on-one, and Ter Stegen solved Elche's goals opportunity masterfully with his foot. Third good, Trincao. There may be hope after all. So Trincao's first season with Barcelona has been a disaster. So far we have seen a slow player who holds the ball too much, who doesn't read the game well and who is unable to challenge defenders on one-on-ones. Yesterday, however, he was better synced with the rest of his teammates, creating goal opportunities and showing some of his characteristic plays that he used to do with Braga. It's definitely not a performance to write in history books, but hopefully helps him to recover some confidence so he can start contributing to Barcelona game. Another unexpected good, Umtiti. When Barcelona fans saw yesterday that Umtiti was playing, many started to panic, and rightfully so. However, yesterday he played a solid game. Umtiti suffers when he has a lot of space on his back and he's challenged by fast strikers. However, his ability to initiate Barca games still there. Koeman read the game perfectly. He expected an opponent that would be sitting back, defending with most of his players with very limited to non-offense. In those situations when there is very limited space, a defender that can read the game and break lines with precise passes is very important, and Umtiti played that role very well. We shouldn't start opening champagne since Umtiti is still very limited. However, in very specific matches like yesterday, he can contribute and provide some rest for the starting centre-back. The bad. Dembele's skills and use. Particularly in the first half, Dembele was playing in the middle field, building Barcelona's attack rather than playing on the wings where his skills are better suited for. Dembele's strengths are on the side, next to the line, using his speed and challenging opposing defenders. And Barcelona didn't use him in that role yesterday. Dembele tends to be inconsistent, losing a lot of balls, thus you don't want him playing in the middle field where if he loses a ball, that can be a clear goal occasion for the opponent. The second bad is looking for Griezmann. So Griezmann's last games have been quite consistently, in the sense that he doesn't participate much on the game, and his performance comes down to whether he scores or not. The days that he scores, like against Athletic de Bilbao, he's an asset to the team. Other days, like yesterday, when he didn't score, he didn't provide much to the team. This is one of the challenges that no coach has been able to solve so far, finding ways to involve Griezmann on Barcelona attack consistently. The ugly. Although the defenders were solid yesterday, we got again a misunderstanding which almost cost us a goal. It has been the new norm that Barca will lose concentration and give a clear goal opportunity to the opponent in every single match. In some occasions it cost us points, in others like yesterday Ter Stegen saved us. It feels it's a matter of keeping focused and concentrated the 90 minutes, which so far they have been unable to do. Yesterday's victory left a lot of interesting statistics. For example, yesterday's was the 5th consecutive victory as a visiting team. This didn't happen since September 2017, during the first season of Ernesto Valverde. At the end of that season, Barcelona would win the league. Yesterday's was also the 4th consecutive victory in general, considering both home and away games. It didn't happen since last February. Since 1978, Elche hasn't scored a goal against Barcelona. And lastly, at this point last season, Barcelona was leader with 40 points on the table. Nowadays, Barcelona has 37, so it's not so far. Lastly, Sergi Roberto is close to play again. The Spaniard got injured 2 months ago in a match against Atletico de Madrid. He also suffered from COVID, which delayed his recovery for several weeks. Sergi trained last Saturday, but doctors thought it was premature for him to play some minutes against Elche. Nevertheless, he's expected to be ready for next Sunday against Athletic, likely starting from the bench. Koeman is considering using him either as a midfielder to provide some rest for Busquets, considering that Pjanic hasn't adapted to Barcelona playing style, or as a right back, since Dest has been suffering from physical problems during the last month. So this was all for today. Thank you very much for your attention. As always, if you enjoyed the video, smash the like button and subscribe. If you have any comment, write it down below, and see you next time.